the 10th of August 2023, and I'm waiting on a contractor to come to do some work, and that's why I have a little bit of time and I just have to stay in the one place. Now, here's the thing, folks, about all this Niger and Burkina Faso and all these funny places with names in Africa, and Mali and all of these in Northwest Africa and in sub-Saharan Africa, and there's a coup there, and there's a war perhaps about to break out there. And my point is this: when the French got out of those countries, they give Niger its independence in 1960, but they insisted they keep the French franc as the currency, and all money must be transacted through the French bank. They have a French bank in the capital city, and that's what they have to do. The Niger people and government have no say. They have a puppet government in there run by this Bazoum fella, and they have no say. Now, as well as that, they forced them to give them all of their uranium and all of their gold. And this is the reality of the situation. Right, enough said about that. My point is, why has Western media never made this an issue? How many Sunday newspapers were bought? How many daily newspapers were bought? How many television programs? How many radio programs? Nobody ever came out and made it clear that this is how the French have been shafting the people of Africa and impoverising them, so that their only option is to get on a boat and try and cross the Mediterranean. And that is what the Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, God bless her and save her, has said. This is the reality. We have no media. The media is only a tool of governments in America and in Europe and in Britain. It's only a tool. There is no objectivity allowed. All I ever wanted to get made public was that wind energy cannot be used on its own without fossil fuel, and that it's not been assessed under Article 3.2 of the SCA directive as required by law, and I never was allowed to get that on. And when I tried to make that public and bring it to public attention, Radio Television Sheridan and TV3 all managed to stop me. They all managed to get around me, including snatching the microphone out of my hand in Kells at one of Vincent Brown's programs. So what we should be realizing now is that we're dealing with a cabal of the media. There is no such thing as an independent media. The financial papers are reasonably good because they have to tell the people what the trends are, or the people will soon stop buying the papers, but that's strictly on finance. And the Farmers Journal has to be relatively accurate because it's given advice on various things like various laws and rules and cattle and everything, and it has to be relatively accurate to that degree. But even that is not easy for me to get a letter published in it. So that's the point. France was forcing their former colonies to use its currency, to use it as a reserve currency, to use the banks that they established in those countries. They forced them to give them or give away their resources at 5% of its value, and they were content to let the local people, the local African people, live in abject poverty forevermore and come out and pontificate about climate refugees. Oh, they're coming from Niger, they're escaping the climate. Oh, they're coming to Ireland, we must put them up. They're climate refugees. And them running because they couldn't get an egg for their breakfast or a glass of milk for the baby. That's the reality, because the French stole all they had, conquered their money, and gave them nothing back, only just enough to keep them going, and weapons all over the place to try and keep out anyone that opposes them. That is the reality. That is the reality of the situation in Niger, in Mali, and Burkina Faso, and a lot of countries around there, and now they're going to try and get the neighbouring African countries to go in and invade them. This is the climate refugees. This is the climate refugees. They're running away from the French guillotine still embedded in their minds, from slavery, and from the exploitation by pure brute force by the French government and its foreign legion, who were kept over there for no other reason to oppress these people and steal all the uranium they had, and steal all the gold they had, and steal their lovely resources on the mahogany and everything else. That's the climate refugees, the Macron refugees, and that's what Georgina Maloney made the point. That's the real climate. It's the political climate where the shift in global power is already taking place, where people can't stand it anymore and they want rid of them. They want them to hell out of their country, and they're going to be thwarted in my view. So give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That's the real climate refugees. Blackguardism, corruption, and robbing the poor old devils of the wee bit of wealth that's in their country and stealing it. France itself has no natural gold deposits, and its vaults are loaded full of Nigeria's gold and other African countries, full of gold that they took from Africa. And they have all this virtue signalling about their clean energy, nuclear energy, generated from almost free uranium stolen from Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. That's the reality of the situation. And where is the media? They've been lying, and anyone that listens to them on their stupid climate nonsense and their other old baloney, and every month's warmer than the next forever. For the next 100 years, it's going to be a degree warmer every month, and there's 12 months in the year. We'll soon be at boiling point, and they have a big notice in America that the desert is at boiling point. This is what they're telling them. No, it's hunger due to robbing the local people of everything they had. This is what happened to Native Americans. It was tried with Ireland. It partly worked with Ireland. And this is what's happening in Africa at this moment. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. These are lying villains. That's the real climate refugees. They can't make a crust in their own country. And they expect Ireland, Britain, and Italy, and the rest of the countries to take all these refugees in that they are forcing out of their native land by the force of arms, by tanks, by guns, and by military aircraft and torture. That's the bottom line. That's the reality. Climate, my ass. It's not climate. It's robbing. It's thieving. And I hope that the people of Nigeria hold firm, and I hope that the neighbouring countries realise that it's not right. It's not right for Nigerian armed forces or other armed forces from African countries to go in and kill their brothers. It's not right. They should leave them alone and give them a chance and let them make their own opinion and get a fair price for whatever they want on the world market and run their own affairs and have proper elections that's proper and dependable. Folks, that's it. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We'll see you back for something else. Good luck.